Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Thursday, January 24th, 2019, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. This is going to be a quick report. I had to include some sulfur dioxide, just showing you this map from today that's on CAMS, and base time is Thursday, January 24th. Area is global, total column level, and we can see over here the I'm going to blow this up, go to the PDF file of this. We can see from the volcano erupting at Papua New Guinea, the large release of sulfur dioxide. This is the signature of volcanic activity. Also over here at Popocatépetl in Mexico, this is signature of volcanic activity. Also over here in Hawaii, it's not as big as these others, but that's signature. And also here in northern Brazil in South America, that's signature of volcanic activity when you see those bursts like that. And also up here in Alaska, we also are seeing high levels of sulfur dioxide throughout India, Saudi Arabia, China, and these places, and also Russia, and not as high as in China, but we are seeing high levels being released consistently where there's methane being released. So if you look at CAMS and you compare, you kind of do an overlay in your mind with where methane is being released in high levels, like up here in the Arctic. You'll also see sulfur dioxide in this cream colored level or higher, and that's about 2 parts per million, and you see it around the Antarctic as well. And go back and watch my sulfur dioxide and volcano video, and you'll know why this is important, because this is sulfur dioxide is one of the main greenhouse gases being released from volcanic activity and also from earthquake activity. A lot of times we'll see a big sulfur dioxide release when there's not a volcano, but we have an earthquake near there in the next couple of days. But this is where gases are escaping from the crust of the earth, and so this is what's going on. So the earth is moving, it's shifting, things are happening. Like I said in my video last night, I don't have time this morning to do a big long update because I've got some things to do this afternoon. So I wanted to give you an earthquake report, what's happened since our show last night, and just get that up for you. And this is probably going to be the only show I'm going to do for today, so I'm trying to keep it short. So what I have pulled up here is USGS all magnitudes for the last 24 hours, and it's showing 199 earthquakes around the map. And if we look at 2.5 magnitude and higher, it shows 32 earthquakes worldwide. So we've had some significant activity since yesterday afternoon. We left off with this one, this 5.5 that happened at Hihifo, Tonga yesterday at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. All these times are in Pacific time. And that's the one we left off with. That was 10 kilometers deep. So let me find it. So here it was on the map. So So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's sixth up. So all of the ones above this are what have happened since then. So I'm just going to go around and click these. I think this will be easiest. There's a 2.5 near Big Lake, Alaska, which is in the Anchorage area. 4.9 near Lorengau, Papua New Guinea, that happened at 6:26 p.m. yesterday at 10 kilometers deep. A 5.4 up here in northern South America near Aratoca, Colombia, that happened at 7:04 p.m. last night, 153 kilometers deep. We can look, here it is, on land. The nearest big town is this Bucaramanga. So that would have been big enough to have caused damage. I don't know if it did or not, but that would have been big enough, definitely. So where was I? I lost my place. Here, 2.8 near Kodiak, Alaska. Here, I gotta get my map lined up the way I like it. 4.4 near Songhai, Philippines, that happened last night at 9:30 p.m. 31 kilometers deep. 4.5 near Fiji Islands at 10:53 p.m. last night. 516 kilometers deep. So that's probably going to come in as the deepest one. So that will cause movement of the plates. 2.6 near Healy, Alaska. 2.5 near Big Lake, Alaska again. 5.5 near Claveria, Philippines, right here. This one happened at 12:34 this morning, 23 kilometers deep. And then this one, Dutch Sense featured this one in his update this morning, and I recommend everybody watch his show this morning. And it happened in South Carolina in the United States. It was a 2.5 magnitude near Chapin, South Carolina. It happened at 1:03 this morning, which would have been 4:03 their time. 4.4 kilometers deep, and it was near a nuclear plant. And he did a whole explanation about how he thinks that nuclear plants are connected with earthquake activity because of the energy, the electricity. He described it as lightning that's being thrust into the ground and causes the breaking of the tectonic plates, and thus causing earthquakes. And he's seen it as a pattern. Now, I'm fairly new at tracking earthquakes, so that makes sense to me. It absolutely makes sense to me, because this is not an area that we normally see earthquakes, and it happened in the middle of this lake. It's called Monticello Reservoir. So reservoir implies a dam also, and I'm not going to go into a big thing about finding the nuclear plant and all that. You can watch Dutch Census update from this morning. And but nuclear plants are always near some kind of body of water because they have to be continuously cooled. Not just the active ones, but the ones that have been decommissioned. Those rods have to be continuously cooled. And so this is a real problem, especially as we get into the warming scenario that we're getting into, because we saw this last summer where the oceans near some of these nuclear power plants were too warm to cool the nuclear power plants. So they were having to go to backup generators and all this stuff. So there's that. So it's a huge deal. So we've got quite a few here in the United States, larger, but I want to get through this list first and then see where we're at. Now I lost my place. We had so many. Okay, so there's that one in South Carolina. 2.5 near Lake Henshaw, California, down here. That's in the southern part. We'll look at that in more detail in a moment. 5.1 near Coquimbo, Chile. That came in at 2:28 this morning, 65 kilometers deep. We can see that was right on the coastline, near that red line. Oh, when I zoom in, I lose my place, so I apologize. Here we go. 5.2 near Ohonua, Tonga. That happened this morning at 3:32 a.m., 55 kilometers deep. 2.8 near Wilson, Oklahoma in the U.S. happened at 3:56 this morning. They're on Central Time, so it would have been 5:56 in the morning, 13 kilometers deep. I don't know if that's from a drilling operation or from, it could just be they drilled so much in that area that the crust is weak there, and it creates a place for the pressure to come out now as pressure is building and the magma's moving. 4.7 near Nago, Japan. That happened at 4:15 this morning, 39 kilometers deep. 3.6 near Valdez, Alaska. Again, near that Anchorage area. That happened at 4:30 this morning, 12.4 kilometers deep. 3.2 Big Lake, Alaska, same region. Happened at 5:13 this morning, 19 kilometers deep. 2.6 near Mentone, Texas. We've seen them there before. Happened at 6:04 this morning, would have been at 8:04 their time. 5 kilometers deep, probably from drilling. 4.2 near Tukaka, New Zealand. That happened at 6:12 this morning, 200 kilometers deep. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on that one. I'm going to come back and zoom in on that one and the one in Greece. 5.3 near Lardos, Greece. That happened at 6:30 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. 2.6 near Cape Yakataga, Alaska. Happened at 7:08 this morning. 2.7 near Willits, California. That happened at 7:29 this morning. Notice a negative depth, a 0.7 kilometers depth, so it was up in a mountain or in a hill. It's showing movement coming up into the hill. So that's magma coming up in there, causing that epicenter to be there. 5.1 near Campo Verde, Peru. that came in at 7:56 this morning, 86 kilometers deep. 4.6 near El Rosario, El Salvador, that came in at 8:20 this morning, 79 kilometers deep. 3.5 near Stroud, Oklahoma. That's a large one for being in the middle there. 8:38 this morning, 4.8 kilometers deep. And a 3.0 near Anchorage, Alaska. It came in at 8:47 this morning. So you can see it's been active. It has been, and this is just since 5 o'clock last night. This has just been a little over 12 hours. So things are happening, and I would say things are really, there's an uptick going on. And so let's look at this Japan one. Okay, this was in the water, but it was, look, it was near Okinawa. It was off the coast of Okinawa. It was a 4.7 right there. Now let's zoom back out, and I want to look at this one in Greece, 5.1. See, now this happened in the Mediterranean Sea, so it was off the coast, but it was near this island, Noshio Igato. So it's not showing a wave for a tsunami warning. It's a 5.3, 10 kilometers deep, and that's right near that red line. There were a couple of others I wanted to zoom in on. I want to zoom in on these over here in the U.S. This one in Oklahoma. Here's the 3.5 near Stroud, Oklahoma. Now this one, okay, then here's the 2.8 near Wilson, Oklahoma. So this one was at 4 o'clock this morning. The one at Stroud was at 8:38, so 4.5 hours later. The Mentone, Texas, these are all new since yesterday afternoon, 6:04. So these are all in the same time frame this morning. Then this one down here in Southern California, we're going to see a lot more activity down there. Let's look at this one, Willits, California. This is that minus 0.7 depth. So it's right up here in north of San Francisco. It's a good ways north of Santa Rosa and San Francisco. Now let's go over to all magnitudes and look at Hawaii. I want to see what's going on there real quick. We're showing 10 for all magnitudes. Now remember, we showed that line down here in the ocean south. Those have fallen off the map since our report last night, so I'll just go over the ones that are showing up here right now. 1.8, 1.8, and you can see them pop up in the blue. 2.4, Leilani Estates. 2.0, 1.9, 2.0, 1.8 up here in the northern part, 1.7, 2.0, Pahala down here, and a 2.4 at Pahala right down here. So this is Kilauea. Remember, we saw a whole bunch in this Kilauea crater, so they're coming and going there. So we're keeping an eye on all of this, and we did see the plume coming out of Hawaii for the sulfur dioxide. Now let's move up to Alaska for all magnitudes. And we had one up here in the northern part. There was a 1.9 near Arctic Village that happened this morning. Nothing in the Aleutian Islands. So the rest of these, there are 54 on the map. And a lot of them have come in since the report yesterday. Here's 4.0. Oh, we saw that was on the map yesterday. There's going to be an overlap of somewhat between my report yesterday and this one this morning. But there have been some larger ones in this Anchorage area, and people have reported feeling these, and 3.2, 3.0, 3.9, and that these have been downgraded from like this 3.9 was downgraded from a 4.2 and so forth. So just in this viewing area here, there have been 38 in the last 24 hours. Now let's go, and here's one up in Canada, 2.2 near Haines Junction, Canada. Happened at 7:56 this morning, 0 kilometers depth. 2.6, okay, we showed that. And 1.8 near Yakataga. So now let's go to the U.S. all magnitudes. Well, let's check out Dominican Republic real quick. We can see they've gone down. There's only 5 showing here on the map right now. And the largest one was a 2.6 that happened yesterday at 2:22 p.m. at Puerto Rico. And then the next largest was a 2.2 near Imahangua, Puerto Rico, that happened at 6:24 p.m. yesterday. So now let's hop up to the U.S. and we'll wrap this up. I wanted to look at this one. Okay, so this one down here off the coast of El Salvador was in the ocean, this 4.6 at 8:20 this morning. That probably didn't cause any damage. Now let's look at the Northwest. Okay, here's one up in Canada. I showed that. That was from yesterday. That was a 2.4 explosion up in Canada. If I see that it's something I covered yesterday, I'll just move on. Here was a 1.3 near Des Moines, Washington, that happened at 7:30 this morning near Tacoma. We've got quite a few up here. 1.6 near Eatonville that happened yesterday at 3:40 p.m. Some of these might not have been registered yesterday when I did the report, so I'll just go ahead and cover them. 0.9 near Morton, Washington. 0.2 near Morton, Washington. Remember, these are in the last 24 hours. 1.6 near Molalla, Oregon. That happened last night at 5:07 p.m. Here's one. I think I showed this. This might not have been on the map, but when we did this yesterday, 2.1 explosion near Prineville, Oregon, at 4:16 p.m. yesterday at a depth of minus 1.4 kilometers depth. So that was an explosion that they did up in the mountain or on a mountainside. Okay, up here in Yellowstone, 1.7 quarry blast yesterday at 12:01 p.m. yesterday, -2 kilometers depth. 1.0 near West Yellowstone, Montana, yesterday at 2:15 p.m. 0.5 near West Yellowstone, Montana, that happened last night at 8:24 p.m. same area. 2.4 near Manhattan, Montana, that's a larger one, that happened last night at 10:36 p.m. 1.2 near Old Faithful Geyser, Wyoming. Now we had 2 there yesterday, and this is a new one that came in at 11:33 last night. 0.3 near West Yellowstone, Montana. It came in at 1:09 this morning. 1.5 near West Yellowstone, Montana, that came in at 3:29 this morning. And a 1.1 near West Yellowstone, Montana, that came in at 5:21 this morning. So most of those are from since our report yesterday. So that's still active. Now let's look in Utah. There was the 1.4 near Enterprise, Utah, that came in at 2:56 p.m. yesterday. Arizona's clear, Colorado's clear, New Mexico is clear. We've covered Oklahoma and Texas. Unless there's something smaller that we didn't see. I think we're good on Oklahoma and Texas. Okay, let's come on over to the earthquake makers. Let's look at Nevada. We saw this. This was in my report yesterday, the 2.0 magnitude explosion near Carlin, Nevada. And we saw this 2.1 explosion near Ely, Nevada. This came in yesterday at 2:28 p.m. And another 1.7 explosion near Tonopah, Nevada. This came in at 3:17 p.m. yesterday. Now let's look at this cluster down here in this nuclear test site. In Area 51, we're showing 9. And they're all registering near Pahrump or Alamo or Beatty. But I'm just telling you, this is all in that nuclear test site region. And so these are microquakes up to a 2.0 in Pahrump. So there's activity going on there. Now let's see what else is going on in Nevada. 0.9 just across the border from California. I'm not surprised about that. Okay, these ones in Lake Tahoe have fallen off, and these ones we saw south of Pyramid Lake and north of Reno, they've fallen off the map since our report last night. Now, let's check on Northern California. Coming on down. Okay, Willits, there have been 2 right here. There was a 1.7 that happened at 7:29 this morning a minus 0.7 kilometers depth. I know we showed this on the 2.5 magnitude and higher map, but I'm showing it again because there was also a 2.0 at exactly the same place at 7:21 this morning. So this one happened at 7:21 this morning at 0.6 kilometers depth, so that was down underneath the ground. And then 8 minutes later, this 2.7 came in at a minus 0.7 kilometers depth. So that was up inside the mountain. So there's, I think there's probably magma moving and causing this earthquake to move up in this epicenter. So remember, this is all of this area, of this whole southwest, not the whole southwest area, but a lot of this Nevada area and Northern California area and Southern California area is old volcanoes, and we're seeing these old dormant volcanoes coming back to life. Okay, in the geysers regions, we're seeing 15 on the map today. And the largest one I'm seeing is a 1.9. Oh, here's a 2.4. That's the largest one. And a lot of these were from yesterday, but they just keep going. We have quite a few from today. We have about 8 from today. So those just keep going. And then coming on down, we have this 2.3 near Kernwood that happened at 8:50 this morning, and a 1.8 near Yountville that happened at 2:35 this morning. So this is today, in the today range. There's Sacramento, here's San Francisco, nothing in this area. So we got those two. Coming down the San Andreas fault line, 1.3 near Parkfield. That happened last night at 8:15 p.m. And a 2.4, okay, I reported on that one yesterday, near San Simon at 1:40 p.m. yesterday. Let's look at these near Mammoth Lakes. Okay, and the Long Valley Caldera, we've got 7 here today. And so in the last 24 hours, we've got a 1.0, a 2.1, 0.6, 0.9, 0.4, 0.9, 0.7. So that's all right down there. And coming on down, in this Argus Mountains area, Indian Wells Valley area, we're seeing a cluster. This is where Coso Junction is, with Little Lake and Coso Junction. Normally we only see like 1 or 2 down here, but we've got 10 all down here in this area in the last 24 hours. I'll call them off. 0.8, 2.2, that's one of the larger ones. 0.9, 0.8, 0.5, 0.6, 1.2, here's a 0 magnitude, 0.4, and a 1.8. Most of those were from since our report yesterday. I think these are explosions that I reported on yesterday. Yeah, quarry blast at 4:32 yesterday at Boren, California. Quarry blast yesterday at 11:55 in the morning near Mojave, and a 1.4 quarry blast near Tehachapi at 11:49 in the morning. So I reported on those yesterday. But we'll see more blasting in my next report, where I get caught up and we see what's going on for the rest of the day. You'll see blasting. They just haven't gotten at work and had their coffee yet and gotten all their dynamite set up. Now down in Mexico, in Baja, there was a 2.3 near Delta, Baja, California, Mexico at 10:53 last night. Right next to this red line, this Imperial Fault line, which is an extension of the San Andreas Fault. Then here we have a 1.2 near Brawley, California. Then there was a 1.4 near Calipatria. So now let's move on in to the Southern California area and see if I can get all of these on the map at once. 43 in the last 24 hours. So some of these I've already reported on from yesterday, but so starting here, this was at 5:21 p.m. yesterday. That would have been after my report. So a lot of this is in that Kauai area. So let's just zoom in here. This is the Kauai area where they're clustering. Here's a larger one, a 2.5. This is that 2.5 near Henshaw Lake that happened at 1:39 this morning, and then right next to it was a 1.2 that happened at 10:06 this morning. So there's movement going on there. So I'm going to wrap this up. This has gone a little longer than I'd hoped, and I've got to get this uploaded and get ready for the rest of my day. And let's see what else has come in since we started on our report. It looks like we had another 4.6 came in at 10:14 this morning south of Fiji Islands, 343 kilometers depth. So that was another deep one. And we've just had 2.1 come in at Pahala, Hawaii at 10:43, 34 kilometers depth. And let's see, 1.7 near Butte, Alaska. And looks like those are the ones that have come in since I started recording. So I'm going to wrap this up. And again, my name is Margo. I do believe we are in the end times, and I do believe that time is very short. No one knows the day or the hour. I'm showing you the signs and the acceleration and the quickening as we draw closer to the end. And I recommend that everyone get their spiritual houses in order so that they can be ready to leave. I love you all very much, And until next time, God bless you, and go in peace, and have a wonderful day wherever you are. Goodbye.